She thought it was just a ride for a stranger, but when he said her name, everything changed. What he revealed next is something you need to see to believe. Lily Serrano woke up with the first rays of sun penetrating through her bedroom window. She stretched lazily before getting up, feeling the familiar aroma of fresh coffee coming from the kitchen. Today would be just another day in the small town of Brooksville, where everyone knew each other and news traveled fast. Brooksville was a charming town with tree-lined streets and cozy houses. In the town center, small family businesses thrived, among them the flower shop, Isabel's Flowers, which Lily managed along with her mother. The shop was known for its vibrant flowers and unique arrangements, attracting customers from all over the region. Lily went downstairs, finding her mother Isabel already busy in the kitchen. Isabel was a woman in her early 50s with light brown hair streaked with gray, gentle brown eyes, and a welcoming smile. Even after all these years, Isabel maintained a serene beauty, marked only by fine lines of experience and resilience. "Good morning, Mom," said Lily, grabbing a cup of coffee. "Good morning, dear. Did you sleep well?" Isabel asked without taking her eyes off the pot where she was stirring the porridge. "Yes, quite well," Lily replied. "And you? Any news?" "Not much. We received a large order for arrangements for the Johnson wedding next weekend. We need to start preparing everything today." Lily nodded, knowing that the work at the flower shop would be intense in the coming days. As she drank her coffee, her thoughts drifted to the Johnson wedding. She was very close to Emily Johnson, the bride, and had always seen her father as a paternal figure. This made her wonder what it would have been like to grow up with her own father around. After breakfast, Lily and Isabel headed to the shop, located just a few blocks away. Isabel's Flowers was a welcoming place, full of colors and aromas that enchanted anyone who entered. Lily loved working there, creating arrangements and taking care of the plants, but her great dream was to pursue a career in botany, researching and cultivating rare and exotic plants. But that didn't matter now. Lily had work to do, and with the Johnson wedding approaching, she knew she needed to dedicate all her attention to the preparations. The day passed quickly at the flower shop. Lily and Isabel worked nonstop, making arrangements, attending to customers, and organizing deliveries. The Johnson wedding was one of the biggest events Brooksville had ever seen, and everyone in town was excited. In the late afternoon, Lily decided she needed to pick up some supplies in the neighboring town. With a quick wave to her mother, she grabbed the car keys and headed down the road connecting Brooksville to the neighboring city. As she drove, she thought about Emily and her father. The paternal figure present in Emily's life was something Lily silently envied. After making the necessary purchases, Lily began to head back to Brooksville. A heavy rain began to fall, making visibility poor and the road slippery. She drove slowly, trying to keep control of the car when she saw a man by the roadside, drenched by the rain. He seemed to be in trouble, and without thinking twice, Lily decided to stop the car. When she lowered the window, she saw an older man with tired features but a kind look. "Do you need help?" she asked, trying to see through the rain. "Yes, please," he replied. "My car broke down, and the tow truck is taking too long. I need to get to Brooksville. I can take you there." "Get in," said Lily, unlocking the door. The man got into the car, thanking her profusely. "Thank you so much. My name is Daniel. I'm staying at the Maplewood Hotel. That's on my way home. I can drop you off there." "So, are you visiting our small town?" Lily commented as she restarted the car. "Thank you. That's very kind of you," Daniel said, observing the landscape as the car moved forward. During the trip, the rain continued to fall heavily, creating a steady rhythm on the car roof. Lily felt the need to continue the conversation, intrigued by the stranger she had found on the road. "What brings you to Brooksville?" Lily asked, keeping her eyes on the road. "I'm here on business. My company is interested in opening a branch in the region," Daniel replied, adjusting in his seat. but it's also a chance to revisit some important places from my past. Interesting. And you said you were here many years ago? Was it for business as well? Lily asked, curious. Actually, no, Daniel said, smiling nostalgically. I was doing research for my master's degree. I spent a summer here, and it was one of the most memorable times of my life. Lily noticed the emotion in his voice and couldn't help but feel touched. Did you meet many people while you were here? Yes, I met some wonderful people. One in particular, Daniel said, his expression becoming more serious. She changed my life in many ways. Lily felt a chill down her spine. Do you still keep in touch with her? Unfortunately, no. We lost touch after I left. But she's always been on my mind, Daniel said, looking out the window as if lost in memories. Lily remained silent for a moment, processing what he had said. And you never tried to find her again? I tried but never managed to find her. It was a complicated time, Daniel replied, sighing. But what about you? Have you lived here all your life? Yes, I've always lived here. I work with my mother in our flower shop. It's a simple life, but I like it, Lily said, trying to keep the conversation light. Flower shop? That's wonderful. And do you enjoy working with flowers? Daniel asked, interested. I do, but my dream is to pursue a career in botany, more focused on the academic side. I want to research and teach about plants, Lily replied, feeling a bit more comfortable. That's admirable. You know, the woman I met here also had a passion for plants. She always talked to me about the flowers in her garden, Daniel said, smiling. Lily felt her heart beat faster. The coincidences were too many to ignore. When they finally arrived at the hotel, Daniel turned to Lily and asked, May I know your name, young lady? It's Lily, she replied, feeling a strange sense of expectation. Lily, what a beautiful name. I always said that if I had a daughter one day, that would be her name, Daniel said, smiling nostalgically. Lily smiled back, but felt a pang of curiosity and confusion. The coincidence left her thoughtful as she said goodbye to Daniel and headed back home. Lily returned home with her mind full of questions. The coincidence of Daniel mentioning Lily as the name he would give to his daughter wouldn't leave her head. As soon as she entered the house, she found her mother in the kitchen preparing dinner. Isabel noticed the worried expression on her daughter's face. Is everything okay, dear? Isabel asked, placing a pot on the stove. Yes, Mom. I just had a long day, Lily replied, trying to sound casual as she sat at the table. Do you have a minute to talk? Of course, I always have time for you, Isabel said, sitting across from Lily. What do you want to talk about? Lily took a deep breath, trying to find a way to introduce the subject. I was thinking about my name. You never told me why you chose Lily. Was it your choice or my father's? Isabel was a little surprised by the question, but answered calmly. It was your father's suggestion. He always said that if he had a daughter, he wanted her to be named Lily. Oh, I see, said Lily, feeling her heart beat faster. And what was he like? I mean, you never talked much about him. Isabel sighed, looking at her hands. Your father was a wonderful man. We met when he was in town doing research for his master's degree. It was an unforgettable summer. Lily tried not to show her excitement. I knew you had a summer romance, but I wanted to know more about it. Isabel nodded with a sad smile. I was working at the university library when he came in asking for help finding some specific books. We ended up talking about his research and discovered we had many common interests. We spent a lot of time together, exploring the town and talking about our passions and dreams. But everything changed when I found out he was engaged to someone else. I felt betrayed and didn't want to see him anymore. He tried to explain, saying he would call off the wedding, but I was too hurt. He was engaged? Lily asked, surprised. Yes, he was. It was a very hard blow for me, Isabel replied with a bitter expression. After he left, I found out I was pregnant with you. I never saw him again. And you never tried to find him? Lily asked, trying to keep the conversation casual. No, I was too angry and hurt. I decided to move on and raise you alone, Isabel said, sighing. It was difficult, but I managed. Lily remained silent, absorbing the information. The pain in her mother's voice was evident, and she knew Isabel still harbored resentment for what had happened. Do you still think about him? Not like before, Isabel said, shaking her head. He was an important part of my past, but he's no longer part of my life. I have you, and that's what matters, Isabel said, caressing her daughter's face. Lily nodded, trying to hide the restlessness she felt. Thank you for telling me, Mom. I know it must have been difficult. It was, but you deserve to know, Isabel said, smiling softly. Now let's have dinner. I made your favorite. Lily smiled back, but her mind was elsewhere. The confirmation that her name was her father's choice kept her awake all night, thinking about what to do next. Lily could barely sleep that night, her mind restless with her mother's revelations and the coincidences that seemed to point to Daniel as her father. At dawn, she was already up, ready to uncover the truth. She made up an excuse to Isabel about needing to resolve some issues in town and left the house early. She drove straight to the Maplewood Hotel, her heart racing. When she arrived, she saw Daniel leaving the hotel in a hurry. He seemed to be heading to an important meeting, but Lily knew she couldn't wait any longer. Daniel, she called, running up to him. I need to talk to you. It's important. Daniel stopped, surprised to see her. Lily, what happened? Is everything okay? I just need a few minutes of your time. I promise I won't take long, she said, almost out of breath. Daniel looked at his watch, clearly undecided. I'm on my way to a meeting, but... He hesitated for a moment, then made a quick phone call. There was an unexpected issue. I'll be a little late, he said into the phone. He hung up and turned to Lily. All right, let's talk. There's a cafe nearby. We can go there. They walked together to the cafe, and Daniel ordered a black coffee while Lily opted for tea. They sat at a quiet table in a corner, away from the bustle of other customers. So, what's so important? Daniel asked, looking at her with curiosity and concern. Lily took a deep breath, feeling a lump in her throat. My mother, Isabel? Hearing that name, Daniel's heart skipped a beat. Lily continued. She had a summer romance many years ago with a man who was doing research for his master's degree. She told me he was engaged, and they lost contact after she found out she was pregnant, Lily explained, feeling the words rush out. You mentioned you were here many years ago doing research, and you said you always wanted to name your daughter Lily. There are too many coincidences, Daniel. I think you're that man. Daniel was silent for a moment, absorbing the information. Isabel, he whispered. I never knew she was pregnant. Does this mean that you're my daughter? Lily nodded, her eyes full of tears. I think so. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Daniel felt a wave of emotions wash over him. He was shocked, but also a deep joy began to emerge. He stood up and, without thinking twice, hugged Lily. If this is true, it's the best news I could ever receive. Lily hugged him back, feeling a connection she had never felt before. Daniel, I need you to talk to my mother. She still harbors a lot of resentment, but maybe this could change everything. Daniel stepped back a bit, still holding Lily's shoulders. I will talk to her. We need to clear everything up. And if you really are my daughter, I want to make up for lost time. After the hug, Daniel and Lily sat down again. He seemed absorbed in thoughts, trying to process everything he had discovered. Lily felt the urgency to know more about the story her mother had never told in detail. Daniel, can you tell me more about how you met my mother? Lily asked, eager. Daniel took a deep breath and began to speak. his gaze distant. We met when I was in town for my master's research. I was studying the biodiversity of the region's plants, and your mother worked at the university library. I needed some specific books for my research, and she helped me find them. We started talking and discovered we had many common interests. She was passionate about plants, just like me. Lily smiled, imagining the scene. And then you fell in love? Yes, it happened naturally, Daniel continued. We spent a lot of time together, exploring the town and talking about our passions and dreams. I knew I was engaged, but I couldn't resist the feelings I developed for her. I decided to tell her the truth, say I would call off the wedding. But when I told her, she felt betrayed and didn't want to see me anymore. Lily nodded, remembering Isabel's words. She said she was very hurt. I know, Daniel said with sadness in his voice. I tried to find her afterward, but I never managed to see her again. And now I find out she was pregnant with you. I had no idea. And you never had children after that? Lily asked, curious. Daniel shook his head. No, I never had children. My marriage was unhappy, and we ended up divorcing a few years later. Since then, I never fell in love with anyone like I did with your mother. Lily felt a mix of sadness and hope. So, you still feel something for her? Daniel hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Yes, I do. Isabel was the great love of my life, and knowing we have a daughter together only makes it more intense. We need to talk to her, Lily said, determined. She harbors a lot of resentment, but maybe with time, she can understand and forgive. And who knows, you might rebuild something together. Daniel nodded, feeling a wave of hope. Let's do that. I want to meet her again and explain everything. And above all, I want to make up for lost time with you, my daughter. They decided to find Isabel that same day. Lily sent a quick message to her mother, saying she was on her way home with a surprise. During the trip, Daniel felt nervous but determined to face the past and hopefully build a better future. As they drove to Lily's house, the nervousness was palpable. Daniel looked out the window, trying to organize his thoughts. Lily, next to him, tried to stay calm, but the anxiety was evident. So, what should I expect? Daniel asked, breaking the silence. Lily smiled, trying to ease the tension. Well, my mother is a strong woman. She had to be, raising me alone. She's very dedicated to the work in the flower shop and loves what she does. I think the most important thing is to be honest and sincere with her. Daniel nodded, absorbing Lily's words. And you, Lily? Tell me more about your life. What's your daily routine like? Lily thought for a moment before answering. I spend most of my time at the flower shop with my mother. I love working with the plants and creating arrangements. I also make deliveries and help organize events like weddings. On weekends, I like to walk in local parks and explore nature. Daniel smiled proudly. That's amazing, Lily. It seems you inherited our love for plants. Yes, it seems so, Lily said, smiling back. And what about you? How was your life after what happened with my mother? Daniel sighed. My marriage was complicated. I got married, but I never forgot Isabel. My work became my refuge, and I dedicated myself completely to it. Eventually, we divorced, and since then, I've focused only on my career. You never thought of coming back here, trying to find my mother? Lily asked, curious. I thought about it many times, Daniel admitted, but I always thought she hated me and would never forgive me for what happened. Now, knowing we have a daughter, I wish I had tried harder. Lily nodded, understanding the situation. Maybe she still harbors resentment, but I think deep down she never forgot you either. Daniel took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves. Do you think I should bring flowers? To break the ice? Lily laughed, the sound breaking the tension in the car. Daniel, she owns a flower shop. I don't think flowers will impress her. Daniel laughed too, the relief evident on his face. I think you're right. Maybe it's better to just be myself." The comic moment helped ease the tension between them, creating a sense of complicity. As they continued the trip, Daniel felt more prepared to face Isabel and finally clear up everything that had been left unresolved for so many years. When they arrived at Lily's house, Daniel's heart was racing. Each step towards the door seemed to carry the weight of all the years of separation and hurt. Lily, beside him, tried to reassure him with an encouraging smile before opening the door. "Mom, I'm home," Lily called out, entering the house with Daniel right behind her. Isabel appeared in the living room, smiling when she saw her daughter, but her smile disappeared when she saw Daniel. Her face went pale, and her eyes widened with surprise and confusion. "Daniel?" Daniel took a step forward, his voice trembling. "Isabel, it's so good to see you again." Isabel stood still for a moment, processing the situation. "What are you doing here?" she asked, the hurt evident in her voice. "Mom, I brought Daniel because we need to talk. There are many things that need to be cleared up," Lily said, trying to mediate the situation. "Isabel, I never knew you were pregnant. If I had known, I would have come back," Daniel said, his voice full of sincerity. "I tried to find you, but I couldn't. I never forgot you." Isabel crossed her arms, clearly defensive. "And why are you here now, after all these years?" "Because I found Lily," Daniel replied, "and she made me realize that I need to make amends with the past. Isabel, I have always loved you, and knowing that we have a daughter together is the best thing that could have happened." Isabel's eyes filled with tears, but she was still hesitant. "You don't understand the pain I felt, Daniel. The hurt, the anger." "I understand, Isabel," Daniel said softly. "And I'm not asking for immediate forgiveness, but I want the chance to explain, to show you that I never stopped loving you." Lily watched the intense exchange between her parents, feeling a mixture of hope and anxiety. "Mom, please give Daniel a chance to explain. He deserves that." Isabel looked at Lily, then at Daniel. She took a deep breath, trying to control her emotions. "All right, let's talk." They sat in the living room, and Daniel began to tell his side of the story. He explained how he and Isabel met, the romance they had, and how he decided to divorce his fiancée. He talked about the difficulty of finding Isabel after returning to town when he discovered she had moved. Daniel mentioned that even after the divorce, he tried to find her several times but never succeeded. Daniel's words were full of regret and sincerity. Isabel listened in silence, tears streaming down her face. When Daniel finished, there was a long silence in the room. Finally, Isabel spoke, her voice still trembling. "It was very hard for me, Daniel, raising Lily alone, knowing you were somewhere but unable to find you." "I know, Isabel, and I'm so sorry for all the suffering I caused you. But I'm here now, and I want to be part of your life and our daughter's life," Daniel said, holding Isabel's hand. Isabel looked at Daniel, feeling the sincerity in his words. There was still hurt, but there was also a small spark of hope. "Let's try, Daniel, at least for our daughter." Lily smiled, feeling a wave of relief and happiness. "Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Daniel. Let's rebuild our family together." The days following the reunion were intense and emotional for Isabel, Daniel, and Lily. They spent a lot of time together, talking about the past, sharing stories, and starting to rebuild lost bonds. The relationship between Daniel and Isabel began to blossom again, while Lily discovered more about her father and their story. The Johnson wedding was approaching, and Isabel and Lily were busy organizing the flowers for the event. Daniel, wanting to spend more time with them and help, offered to assist with the organization. Isabel, hesitant at first, eventually accepted the help. On the day of the wedding, they were at the flower shop preparing the final arrangements. Daniel showed himself to be skillful and dedicated. impressing Isabel with his talent and dedication. "Daniel, you really know how to handle flowers," Isabel commented, smiling. "I learned from you, remember?" Daniel replied, winking at her. Lily watched the interaction between her parents, feeling deep joy to see them reconnecting. "You make a good team," she said, picking up a bouquet of roses. As they worked together, Daniel took the opportunity to learn more about Isabel and Lily's daily lives. "How was it for you, Isabel, raising Lily alone?" he asked, his voice full of concern. Isabel paused for a moment, reflecting. "It was hard, Daniel. There were times when I felt lost and overwhelmed, but Lily was always my light. She gave me the strength to keep going even when things were tough." Daniel nodded, admiring Isabel's strength. "I'm so sorry for not being there to help. If I had known, I would have done everything to be by your side." Isabel looked at Daniel, surprised and moved. "I know that now, Daniel, and I'm glad we finally found each other." The Johnson wedding was a success, with the flower arrangements receiving many compliments. Daniel, Isabel, and Lily worked together as a real team, and the connection between them grew even stronger. As they watched the newlyweds dance, Daniel approached Isabel and whispered, "I'm thinking of moving here to be closer to you. What do you think?" Isabel looked at Daniel, surprised. "Would you really do that?" "Yes, I would," Daniel replied, holding Isabel's hand. "I want to be part of your life and Lily's life. I want to rebuild our family." Isabel smiled, feeling a mix of emotions. "Then let's do this together, Daniel." Lily, who was nearby, heard the conversation and smiled, feeling a wave of happiness. They were finally on the right path to rebuilding the family they should always have been. With the reunion and Daniel's decision to move to Brooksville, the lives of Isabel, Lily, and Daniel began to change significantly. Daniel started planning the opening of a branch of his company in town, and the excitement of being closer to his family was evident. In the following days, Daniel, Isabel, and Lily worked together to build a new future. Isabel's house, which was already welcoming, now overflowed with hope and happiness. Daniel was excited about the possibility of being more present in his daughter's life and rebuilding his relationship with Isabel. While walking through the local park, Daniel looked at Lily, who was observing the plants with interest. "Lily, have you thought about finally pursuing your dream of studying botany?" he asked, interrupting her thoughts. Lily smiled, surprised. "Yes, I think about it all the time, but I always felt I needed to be here to help my mother with the flower shop." Isabel, who was next to Daniel, looked at Lily with tenderness. "Lily, you have always helped me a lot, and I am grateful for that. But I want you to follow your dreams. If studying botany is what you really want, then you should go for it." "Your mother is right," added Daniel. "You have incredible talent and a genuine passion for plants. With your determination and knowledge, you can achieve great things." Lily felt a wave of emotions hearing her parents' words of encouragement. "I would love to study botany. It's my dream, but I need to find a way to balance that with working at the flower shop." Isabel smiled. "We'll figure it out. With your father around, we'll have more help. You can start your studies, and together we'll find a way to make everything work." With the support of Isabel and Daniel, Lily enrolled in a botany course at the local university. Daniel was also busy preparing for the new branch of his company, and the town of Brooksville began to become a center of new opportunities for all of them. Challenges came, as they always do, but the strength of the family kept them united. Isabel and Daniel worked together in the flower shop, while Lily dedicated herself to her studies. Gradually, life adjusted, and the new family dynamic brought happiness and fulfillment to everyone. One afternoon, while arranging flowers in the shop, Daniel looked at Isabel and Lily, feeling profound gratitude. "I'm so happy to be here with you. I never thought I would have this opportunity to rebuild my life and my family." Isabel held Daniel's hand, smiling. "We're happy to have you here, Daniel." Together, We can face anything." Lily, hearing the conversation, felt a wave of happiness and hope. Everything was falling into place, and she finally had the family she always dreamed of. Months had passed since Daniel moved to Brooksville, and life in the small town flourished in ways no one could have predicted. The new branch of Daniel's company prospered, bringing jobs and revitalizing the local economy. Isabel, Daniel, and Lily found a harmony that previously seemed impossible. Lily excelled in her botany studies, impressing professors and classmates with her knowledge and passion. She divided her time between university and the flower shop, where her new skills were directly applied to the daily work. The flower shop had never been so beautiful, with innovative arrangements and exotic plants that attracted customers from all over the region. One afternoon, while helping in the shop, Lily received an unexpected visit. It was her botany professor, Dr. Hughes, who invited her to participate in a research project on the local flora. "Your work and dedication have not gone unnoticed, Lily. We would like to have you collaborate on this project," he said with a smile. Lily accepted the offer enthusiastically, knowing that this opportunity was a big step towards her dream. Isabel and Daniel were by her side, supporting her in every decision and celebrating every achievement. At home, the family dynamic was now full of love and understanding. Daniel and Isabel rediscovered the love they had for each other, working together in the flower shop and supporting Lily. The evenings were spent talking about the future, reminiscing about the past, and planning new adventures. One day, Daniel surprised Isabel and Lily. He organized a picnic in one of the local parks, a place they used to walk together. As they enjoyed the scenery and each other's company, Daniel stood up, and with a sparkle in his eyes, he kneeled before Isabel. "Isabel, you have always been the love of my life. All these years apart only made me realize how important you are to me. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, building our family and facing any challenge together. Will you marry me?" Isabel, with tears of joy in her eyes, answered without hesitation, "Yes, Daniel, I will. I want to spend the rest of my life with you."